Hey everybody, Nina with Budget Yarn Reviews here. This is take 2 on a video trying to talk to you guys about workability of these swatches for the fast follows of the Ultimate Acrylic Yarn Comparison. Let's see if this second take I actually get all my thoughts in it so I don't have to splice a video together. Alright, so the 4 that we're talking about are Premier Basics, that's Basics with an X on the end, Red Heart Super Saver. This is the Willow Yarns wash. This is the one that's manufactured in China, not Turkey, which was in the previous set of yarns. And then Lion Brand Pound of Love. So in terms, let me just touch real quick on softness for these. These soft, okay, so in order of least soft to softest, I would probably say that Super Saver's not very soft. It's on the rougher side. Basics is softer than that, but still not as buttery soft as something like Pound of Love and the wash here. Wash is definitely the softest of all these, but Pound of Love feels pretty good too. And not to say that these are like rough, scratchy. They're still softer than a cotton, but you know, they're not gonna make you swoon or anything. So it was last week that I did the last 2 iterations of the swatching. So if you'll recall from the previous workability videos, the way I'm testing workability is I'll knit something, I'll crochet, I'll frog it, I'll crochet it, frog it again, and then knit it one last time to kind of show how well a yarn holds up to being frogged, because not all yarns are good at that. It also allows me to see, you know, if a yarn splits more in knit versus crochet and things like that. So overall, they all held up to frogging pretty well. I'd say the one that's going to be at risk here is Willow Yarns Wash. And if I recall correctly, it wasn't a problem with the one that was manufactured in Turkey. This one is definitely a looser ply than both the 3 yarns I'm comparing it with now, as well as the original Willow Wash that I compared with. I actually made a hat with the Willow Wash already. It was a color work project, so I was able to use both yarns side by side, the one manufactured in Turkey and the one manufactured in China. And so yes, this is the one manufactured in China is thinner. The ply is looser. It's still soft, but it is more prone to splitting. And when we're done washing the swatches, we'll see if it has the same durability or not. Otherwise, all of these held up to frogging and being reworked very well. Even Pound of Love, which has a looser ply than, you know, the Red Heart Super Saver and the Premier Basics. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me just go one swatch at a time. So Red Heart Super Saver, this is, you know, basic acrylic yarn go-to. Most of you know how this feels, know how it works up because you've used it before. The ply is tight enough that it doesn't really split or anything, but what it does do, as most of you probably know, is it squeaks a lot. In previous posts and videos, I did mention, though, that there are some ways to mitigate that. Lots of people swear by things like waxing the needles and stuff. In my experience, those don't help for very long. It might save you for like 2 minutes and then it'll be back to squeaking again. The thing that I think works the best is switching to wood. Now, I don't know exactly how that works with crochet because I don't have wood crochet hooks, but I do know that with knitting anyway, it makes a big difference. So anyway, that's the big takeaway for Red Heart Super Saver is it does squeak, doesn't really split. And just kind of as a, again, most of you are familiar with this yarn, so you know how it's a thicker budget acrylic yarn than some. It's also kind of got that springy feel. Like lots of people who are used to Red Heart Super Saver and try another yarn, they complain because the yarns aren't as thick. And that is, it's true. This is a very thick yarn, but you then don't get some of the softness or the uniqueness that you do with some other yarns. So Premier Yarn Basics, since this is newer, not all of you are going to be familiar with it, it feels very similar to the Red Heart Super Saver in texture and thickness. So if you want to try an alternative Red Heart, but you love the thickness, this is going to be similar for you. I think that it's softer on the hands. It doesn't split, same as the Red Heart Super Saver, and I didn't have any experience with it squeaking. I don't know if that's a fluke or anything, because I mean, things like how moist your hands are and all those things have an effect on how readily a yarn will squeak. So not being able to 100% control for that, I don't know if somebody else could experience squeaking with this, like if, you know, they use a certain type of lotion or something, but I didn't. So for that reason, I would prefer working with basics over Red Heart Super Saver between the softness and the squeaking issue. So anyway, moving on. For both knit and crochet, those are all pretty standard, what you'd expect. Not horrible, but nothing amazing. Okay, so on a Pound of Love. This is one of those value yarns that is thinner. So if you're used to Red Heart Super Saver and you switch to something like Pound of Love, you might feel like you got cheated because it's a thinner yarn. But that does make it more flexible, less stiff. I personally really like the way it feels. It's a lot softer. The ply is a bit looser, but I still didn't have any issues with it splitting, and I didn't have any issues with it squeaking. So I enjoyed this one. I would absolutely buy a Pound of Love again. I like most Lion brand yarns, as you know, so it was really nice to find that I enjoyed their value yarn. Okay, so last one, Willow Wash. Like I said earlier, compared to the turkey version, thinner, looser ply, splits more readily. It doesn't squeak, but it definitely was the only one in this batch that I really felt had a splitting issue, particularly when crocheting, because you know how when you crochet and you have to frog something, sometimes you'll get a spot that you literally have to tear it apart because you like caught part of another ply when you sent your hook through and everything, and it literally got stuck together. That happened with chaining of all things. Like usually that happens with like doing double crochets and things where you're looping the yarn over your hook a lot, but that happened to me on the initial foundation chain. So when I ripped the swatch out to knit it again, I literally had to cut a section off because I could not rip it apart. That's how odd the split was for me. So this doesn't split as much as something like Red Heart Soft, or I can't remember which one I called out as splitting the most last time, but I know there were a couple that split a lot, and I wouldn't say this is that bad. I still only had like, for an entire swatch, I had the spot on the foundation chain and like one other spot, so not terrible. But it's something to make note of since I loved the original. I'm calling the Turkish one the original. I don't know, because Willow Yarns, I asked them like, well, where are you manufacturing now? And I never heard back. So I'm calling Turkey the original. I'm calling China they decided to try and manufacture cheaper and didn't quite hit the mark. So yeah, definitely something to make note of. If you're looking through a bargain bin, looking at Willow Wash, and you see this manufactured in Turkey versus China, like that right there, for me would be like, ooh, I found some of the stuff made in Turkey. I want that. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. That's basically it. Nothing too crazy other than this one squeaks, this one splits. Otherwise, it's what you'd expect. And I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't really think I have anything else to say on the subject. So anyway, I hope you all have a great week. Hope that your weekend, your Valentine's Day weekend was great. I had frozen pipes. Apparently one section of my wall also isn't insulated, just like my attic. So I'm having fun over here in this new house of mine. So if I do get a chance to do another video soon, I'll probably show you some of the projects I've done with the yarns from the original comparison. Otherwise, I don't know when you'll hear from me next. So anyway, hope you all have a great week. Bye.